Hey guys, welcome. I just have to change my tank real quick. I made supper on the grill and I just noticed I got grease. Night. So always look for the timestamp. Alright. Let me run to the bathroom. Yo. Love you more. Okay. All right. Just tricky. Tricky. Okay. Hi. I'm back to life, back to reality. Bam. Okay. So I'm going to introduce new concepts. Okay. In order for months, we've been talking about the universe. I was just about to get real comfy, but you're not plugged in. For months, we've been talking about the universe, where things are going to go, where they should be going. How are we going to solve the problem that the human race has created? So if you kind of if you're new, welcome. If you were to scroll through my videos, you will notice over like a couple months duration, there's different videos on different things. If I can go back and target some of them for you and maybe put a certain emoji in front of it, for you to go back and look upon, especially if you're new. Okay. I will try to do that for you. Let me just write myself a note. Emoji, certain videos. Okay. So I have my notes from certain messages that I'm getting. Now listen, this is obviously it's a new concept, right? Sheldon's food. I'll probably introduce a whole bunch of different concepts as well as like just touching base on this one. Especially, I feel like the energy one should have went first, but maybe not necessarily. Okay. So this particular message is like a Pleiades message. It is a cluster of stars near the sun. It's just one little piece of the galaxy. Okay. Now, this is like their interpretation on why we're here and now, besides the interpretation I've already given of my thoughts and what we're supposed to do to save humanity. Now, this is even a new concept for me, as like I'm taking in you know, messages that are meant to be delivered and sent your way. Okay. So I'm going to touch base on a lot of 5D because that's where a majority of the awoken people are already at. We're like our brain is functioning registered in 5D energy, even though we're in 3D. So when I relate to the 3D, I'm probably going to relate it to either the matrix or density. Okay. So their concept, they have, let me just get the fan so I don't keep getting interrupted all of a sudden. Like, I'm so hot, and all my seashells just fell, and I feel like I didn't even like really touch those. But all of a sudden, like, I feel like I'm in a sauna. I don't even understand what that's all about. So Pleiades is also a giant group cluster of stars, okay, that are blue. So I don't know if that had anything to do with the portal itself that we saw in the weekend energy, which is titled Weekend Delight, I believe, right? Is that what it is? Something like that. So Pleiades, certain stars, okay, and there's so many. Basically, this one's like the constellation of Taurus, okay. Been around for millions and hundreds of millions of years, guys. First of all, they absolutely want to say that there's 10 planets. I know some people beg to differ. They look at the human race as of right now as very irresponsible humans, not responsible for their own selves and well-being. Okay, so okay, I'm trying to figure out where I should actually start. If you think about it, like when we're born, right? I don't know what it's like. This is just their theory. I don't know what it's like on other planets and where, you know, they're socializing. But for us, when we're born, okay, we're instantly being told what to do, how to do it, the wrongs, the rights, the ins, the outs. It starts with our parents. It goes from our parents to our teachers. After our teachers, you know, then it's our bosses. And then from there, you know, we look at society. We have all the bigwigs, the politicians, the priests, you know, things like that. It's like we always needed a dictator. But the thing is, we didn't need a dictator. We didn't come to planet Earth with any dictators. We came to planet Earth with leaders of their society, of their beliefs, their religions, this and that. But it was never forced upon. It was more of, it was clean and it was pure when it first kind of all came together. So their concept is, from this particular star family, we all came here as starseeds. Every single one of us came here as starseeds. That's what they call humans, okay? It's starseeds. We're part of their family. So that term, like we're all one, in their eyes, we're all one, okay? We were put here on Earth because it's the closest planet to the sun. It was big enough so it could radiate vibration. So basically, by putting us here on planet Earth to begin with, okay, we got to scratch out the Bible. We got to scratch out certain things because this is a different concept, guys. And I'm not saying any of this to take away from your belief. We can all still have beliefs. That doesn't change anything, okay? It's just basically saying we're part of the Starseed family. We're all Starseeds in their eyes, okay? We will put here to raise certain vibrations of other planets because this planet had the frequencies to help uplift. Like our vibration lifts and helps and heals other planets. Like we're dead smack in that one. So their initial reason on why we're here is to raise vibration to help the other planets that need to be helped. Okay. So as these humans, and if you think about it, we have always been told what to do, and how to do it and how we should live and how we shouldn't live and what's right and what's wrong. They call it the hive mind. If you think about it, all the working bees, you're still answering to the queen bee, right? You have the news, you have everything that's on social media. You turn something on, it's instant negativity. They call that negativity, it's like negative forces. We can call it the shadow side. We can call it so many different things. They call it negative infiltration, okay? Which right now is coming through our waters, which is now making a lot of sense when in the last couple months we've been touching base on the oceans, the waters, this and that, stardust, all this other stuff, right? They've been targeting the indigenous people for a very, very, very long time, and it's working its way out. It's like take the powerful out, and like the shamanistic and certain stuff, like it take out like the strongest, you know, because what they want is humanity to be like the weakest link, right? So but again, their intention wasn't for us to come here and have our brain, our mind, our subconscious to do like we're in the matrix. Like this matrix was big enough where we were supposed to be open-minded enough with certain stuff to heal and transcend. So this is another part of like the whole global ascension. It's just their concept of global ascension, and why we're here and what a starseed is. Like a starseed is part of their family. We are their family. They're our vice versa. We were placed here. And again, it wasn't with any negative intention. Okay. You know, there is certain things, there's certain energies. A lot of people refer to them as angels. They're here to help, aid, heal certain stuff, you know, to kind of like, let's just say uplift your spirits. Okay. Do they are they studying us? Yeah, of course they're studying us on like a scientific point of view. You know, we kind of turned into a study. Because their intentions wasn't for the negative energy, the forces to override humanity, which has clearly happened, right? So they're in 5D energy. That's exactly where Earth needs to be in order to help the other planets. Now, there's so many different concepts and different ways of looking at things. So I get the messages, I get what they're saying, and I'm sure I'm going to get many different type of messages throughout this entire thing, okay? What it boils down to is our own brains, our own self, and reprogramming the program that people taught us. Like there's no There's no reason for, there's a whole nother subject. Just think about like here and now with certain generations, and you're like, I can't believe they're teaching this in school and they're not teaching that in school, this and that, yada, yada. We're being taught what society, what the politicians, what the bigwigs want us to learn, what the negative energy wants us to learn. They want to keep us in the matrix. So we're all individuals, we're all here for our own reason, purpose, message, however it is, that's currently taking place. So nobody can really take your place on Earth right now on what it is you feel is important for you to move forward with, if that makes sense. It's like liberating yourself, you know what I mean, from what society and public figures and family members have made you feel like this is what it needs to be. And I know we've all had certain thoughts, not exactly these thoughts, but certain thoughts of like how society is and how it's corrupt and the government and certain stuff. Their concept, I don't want to get into I am going to kind of jump, okay, because I don't want to get into too deep either, because there's lots of other messages coming from other, stars, planets, galaxies. This is just kind of like a Pleiades concept. Well, to them, it's not a concept. To them, this is the truth. To them, this is why we're here. For us, it's this concept. So it's theory. So if we change perspective, if we change one's perspective, that instantly changes your vibration. It's instant. Then from there, you can work on that. That's a whole nother video that I have to do on energy. So these ones will kind of mesh. But if we change perspective, we change humanity. Therefore, self-thinkers, self-taught, like you have to reprogram it right now, because right now we're just hanging out in the matrix, and we didn't create that matrix. So, but we are basically creating the matrix and making it worse and worse and worse with our own thoughts, which again breaks down to energy. So when it comes to their karma, and I'm going to read like my notes because I don't want to mess this up, how karma is to them. And it makes sense to me because I've said this over and over, okay? We came here with positive karma, not negative karma. But through day and age and time and history and certain stuff, people have certain beliefs, and you come in with this and you come in with that. We do to an extent, but it's not negative karma. So, it's not coming in with like curses and hex or however society, humanity wants to look at like certain things, but we actually came here with really good karma because it was meant for us to raise the vibration of the planet, because we're closest to certain planets that need our help. That's why we were put here, okay? So again, they look at it as all as Starseeds, not just some of us. Maybe some of us are more outspoken now. Maybe some of us are like coming out of our shells and breaking barriers and going around corners and stuff, and I'm no longer, stuck at the crossroad. But we didn't come in with bad karma, okay? We don't even have to carry the bad karma. We choose to carry the bad karma. And I've explained this plenty of times when it comes to karma. Like, for example, like staying in a relationship you shouldn't be staying in, but you do because you have children, or for financial reasons, or because, people in your family or society thinks this is where you should be and this is how much money you should make, and you should be with somebody who can match your money and match this. But what about actually being with somebody where you're actually matching their vibration? Okay, so that's it's just an example of like karma. And when I say, someone's not taking care of the karma, they're not cleaning up their own shit. Okay, that's my example. But in order to liberate yourself from the karma, in their perspective, is when you actually understand why that event took place and why you chose to stay in it, which is basically kind of like how I explain it in a way. Okay. But in order to like overcome the karma is when like their exact words are kind of like, when you accumulate and process the infinite wisdom, then you can let it all go. So not focusing on it too much, but enough to understand, okay, so when you're down and out or however you're looking at something, it's like, don't stay and focus on the hurt and the pain, but process it, acknowledge it, accept it, acknowledge it. What did I always say? Like the 3 A's or something, right? Like acknowledge it, accept it. I can't even remember, but it's like that. Don't hover in it. Don't sit in the pain of it. Oh, why me? Why that? Then you're just becoming, then that's just victim mode. Okay. You got to get out of victimhood because it's not going to help. Okay. So karma itself is what you create by staying in a situation that doesn't suit you. You're creating your own karma. But again, you're told by society or your parents, or at this point, you're worried about judgment or conditioning. You worry about, again, judgment, other people's opinion, what they're going to think. So you stay in certain situations. When you stay in certain situations, you're not even walking your own path. You're basically walking somebody else's path because you're not doing, at the end of the day, what's actually best for you. What's stopping you? Your thoughts, society, how things work. Because if you were really making the right choices at the end of the day regarding you, you wouldn't be in a situation of trying to find your way out of a situation. So back to the whole, that's their concept of it, which is basically how my kind of concept has been this whole time anyway. I guess I just never looked at it as like, well, I never looked at it as we come in with bad karma anyway, but I guess some people could say that because we do come in with like trauma, we do come in with certain stuff. But that's only accumulated over the years and generations and centuries because of where humanity is and people not wanting to actually live the life that they should actually be living according, well, they're not doing it according to society and beliefs. Okay. Again, they're stressing the 10 planets. They're also saying Venus is in just as much danger as Earth right now. I don't know much about that. They didn't really touch base on it like that. It's just, I know Venus is one of them, which I guess would kind of make sense if we're in the star cluster of the constellation of Taurus. So basically, in order to impact certain things on Earth, we really need to change our perspective, because when we change our perspective, we vibrate differently. We're no longer holding on to low energy or reciprocal energy where it's just going around and around and around, and you're just living this matrix, the patterns over and over, like you can't escape your own fucking maze, right? So they call it, again, it's strong energy, it's dark energy, it's the negative infiltration. And that just sounded really funny. It just wanted me to put those two words together. Talking to myself, hold on. because it's like in order. Okay, I kind of get what they're saying. What I was trying to say was infiltration, but for those who know me, I always take two words and put it together. Anywho, there's something with the Kaaba too, which is located in the Mecca. It's like lined up with Venus and Mars. I don't know what they're trying to kind of say regarding that yet. But with the negative infiltration, right, from what I'm aware of, there's so much more, but it's when water on the ground enters the soil, passes through time, it goes through gaps, pores, things like that. They're using water right now to attack peaceful planets. So not just ours, okay, to take over and to dominate certain situations through lies and mind control and, things like that. So Earth is actually headquarters, okay, for all these other planets. For basically the Federation, okay? But it's now a negative headquarters. The intention was never for this negative force to take over the headquarters. Okay, so all these other planets and galaxies and star clusters and all, like, they sent us here. We agreed to come here to help all the other planets, which is basically our home, okay? For those who went through some type of spiritual awakening or however your path went, there's typically always at one point where you say like, oh my gosh, like I just want to go home. I'm not home. You're usually going through like the dark night of the soul. Just trying to like figure out why this is all happening. Like when things it's like epiphany after epiphany, but at the same time, like you're being knocked down, like to the point where you consider suicide, you consider this, you consider that. Like, there's so many things that will go through your brain during a spiritual transformation. Like that's why it bothers me when they're like, oh, I'm on a journey, spiritual transformation, and they're all happy go fucking lucky. It's like, you don't even know what a spiritual awakening is if you're sitting here preaching happy-go-lucky shit and it changed your world. No, it changed your world because you are at the lowest and you've had to experience more than the average bear should actually experience and awaken to, and you awoken to it on your own because you had to go through it. You didn't ask somebody for their opinion or make this better or that. Like only one can get themselves out of the fucking matrix that we live in. So basically this negative infiltration right now has basically hijacked the earth, and it clearly overpowers other planets. Clearly it has to, right? Because if there's more negative than positive, which makes sense, guys, you put on the radio, you put on the freaking news, you do this, you got people like making you fearful, you have to do this, you have to get, vaccinations and this, it's all negative. One thing is attached to another. It's the matrix. We're allowing fake ass fucking politicians and certain people on the fucking highest scales of society right now. We're allowing them to dictate how things are going to go and what we should put in our bodies. That's a whole other story. We've talked about that on other videos. But that's our problem. The way to solve this problem, to save planet Earth, to actually save the other planets, because that's kind of what we agreed on, to help, because we were already vibing on a higher vibe, Okay, so they put us here in order to help the other planets. And the negative forces just have taken over. Okay. The way to fix that is certain people will come in with certain messages, explain things the right way, not through manipulation, but in order for them to relate to you. It's all about your message and how they're relating to your concept, your theory, this type of stuff, right? I'm just the messenger. I've been saying that for months. I don't know what type of messages I'm going to deliver, but here's the start of them, right? So, how long? So, I don't know if quite from day one we were put here. I know a majority of us. I don't really understand that concept yet. But a majority of us, they're saying all of us are starseeds. We're all part of that family. We are here to save humanity. We have to save humanity because if we don't save humanity, we can't save the other planets. So it's actually way bigger than just saving humanity. This is why it's so important on, is AI going to take over? Are humans still going to exist? Like, how is this going to work? Because now we have more negative energy than positive energy overthrowing Earth. And the answer really is a change of perspective. A change of perspective will change your vibration because you're taking yourself out of what you've been taught. You're unlearning what you've been taught. What you've been taught does not serve you. It will not continue to serve you. So, which makes a lot of sense because when I was doing videos months ago, I was like, I don't know what the answer is on how to get ourselves to save humanity. But I know that needs to be done because they have the capability. I'm thinking of two words again. They have the capability, which I was probably thinking of, it doesn't matter, to wipe us out. They're trying not to do that. See, I have so many concepts myself, but not for this video because this is their message. So basically, Earth has been hijacked. They're not too happy about it. But basically, it's like they have that whole concept too, like we are all one, and we really should be all one, okay? But there's too many people suffering and walking in other people's fucking shoes. You know, it's repressed energy. So that energy needs to wake up, and in order for energy to wake up, it really is perspective change, okay? So basically they're saying if we do nothing, we're just as guilty as the ones that are suppressing the energy, allowing it to happen, feeding into it. So like example, you know, staying in karmic situations, you're not growing, you're not evolving. If you're just focusing on trauma and, you know, you're being told you need to heal before you create, you need to heal before you move on, that's actually bullshit, because you're just sitting there thinking about the same thing over and over and what hurt you and why you put yourself in this situation, this and this and this. Like that, it's not a thing. Like, in order to move forward and be happy, you can't focus on trauma. You can't focus on what people told you to do or what you should do, because you're not walking your path. Today, here and now, if you're not doing what it is that makes you happiest at the end of the day because of somebody else's judgment, whether it be society or family, or, oh, you really shouldn't go in that direction, oh, can they really match your finances, blah 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 blah, you know what, you little fuckers, you're walking somebody else's path. You're not walking your own fucking path. Sad. Okay, so you're just as guilty if you're not aware of that, and you're hanging out with energy that's actually doing that. Like, why are you lowering your vibration to hang out with somebody who won't even step their vibration up to match your vibration? Okay. So there's so many different messages. That's why I'm like looking at my notes, making sure I'm not mixing it with other stuff. But again, if we do nothing, we're just as guilty, you know, as those who do that. Okay. And we all do have the solution, and the solution is within the limitations of the laws that society has created. Okay. So basically it's like, in a metaphysical sense, it's you change your perspective of those and certain things around you and inside of you, and therefore you solve the problem, you know. Like, they're looking at Earth as like the humans as of right now, like they're starseeds, as non-responsible human beings, and they're like traumatized selves, and they walk around in the 3D all traumatized, manifesting this matrix, and your negative thoughts are maintaining and controlling this matrix, but it's through other people's mind control of society and influential. I don't know what two words are supposed to be going with that one, but leaders that don't know their fucking ass from their fucking elbow, pretty much, at the end of the day. Okay. So it's like reprogramming the self matrix from within. Create your own matrix, create your own reality. You know, some people are always like, oh, I can't believe this one or that one. But like, the imagination is so strong, and it's taken from us at such a young age. And now we wonder why we have less entrepreneurs and less this and less that. And probably one of the reasons why we are where we are today. So that's basically the messages I have on that end regarding that group, that cluster of stars, the seven sisters. Okay. So again, I'm going to be throwing a lot of concepts and theories at you. It's what you take from it. But I thought it was pretty interesting, their idea of a starseed and why we're here and why we feel like we want to go home. Like, for the ones that are really awoken, we do feel that way. Like, this isn't home. And that makes a lot of sense, because it's not home. Like, it's hard for us to maintain and live in this matrix when we're beyond this matrix, but here we are in this matrix. And then now I understand from their concept, I can see and understand what they're saying and their concept of why it feels the way I feel, as certain people feel, when it comes to not being at home. Like, how it's so hard to relate. So in order for certain things, in order to be able to relate here in this density on, you know, the matrix, people's perception needs to change, because then the energy changes. That needs to be my next video, so you can kind of understand where I'm going with that and how we hold on to energy and why we keep repeating the same patterns in the same matrix and certain stuff. Okay. So I have certain messages from certain things, and I'm just like, okay, well, if I don't start getting these out, I'm going to get all like, So I really want to start working on the energy one for you. But this is why we need to start creating in 5D too, because you can't take the 3D and create in the 5D. That structure, it won't work anymore. We're trying to get rid of that structure. We need more people with voices, you know, control over their own freaking mind, not just put a headset on and call it a fucking day and live in a reality that's just not real. Okay. So I know I have my thoughts, you have your thoughts. Right now, I'm just here to deliver this particular message. Okay. And then from there, eventually, you know, as we start conversating with certain stuff, and we can take, you know, what this thinks and they think, and like, I don't know. I find it extremely interesting, though, that their concept on starseeds. Not so much the karma. I get the karma. I've kind of been explaining that. But the part that I find interesting is we don't come in with karma. We shouldn't have came in with karma. The reason why certain people come in with certain karma and certain stuff being passed from the womb and this type of stuff is because people walk around in this victimhood and traumatized human beings because they never found their way out of the matrix. And family and friends and conditioning in society does not help. They want us to be victims. They want to have our mind control. We all have the capability in the same capacity they do on the level like they're at, like meaning like they're not fucking special. They're not more special than you're special. They just have, you know, special fucking people, governmental fucking people to back them up. It doesn't make them fucking special. It doesn't make them right. When the human race starts to deprogram and can take themselves out of society's matrix and reawaken their own matrix, everything changes. Everything changes. It's like, talk about a revolution. Well, everything changes. That's how it changes. That's their concept. Okay. And there's going to be more and more and people that advocate for this type of stuff. I mean, there's no question. But again, that's why I'm talking about 3D and 5D and creating businesses. Like, you have nothing to fear to go and create a business right now, especially a spiritual business. There's nothing to fear. You were put on this planet here and now for here and now regarding what's going down. We all have our own individual messages. No one can take your message. No one can try to feed off your message. It won't work. That's not how energy works. So now is the perfect time to create a spiritual business or a spiritual practice, whatever it is you choose to do. I know I feel like I'm all over the map with certain stuff and working with this energy and shutting my eyes, waking up and realizing that this is this and this is that, and watching that, and just the direction is all over the place. But I guess I'm here to deliver a shit ton of fucking messages from different densities. And we here on 3D, we call them realms. Apparently, they call it densities. And we're all from the 5th D. We're all in the same family. They certainly didn't have intentions on the negative infiltration coming in and taking over, because we are headquarters for the cosmos and the galaxies. That's why we were able to create AI. That's because of the vibration that this planet gives. So we're in a real tricky timeline, is the word they want to use. We're in a real tricky timeline. Okay, so, and they've been putting people on this earth for a very, very long time. They've been telling this story out through movies, TV series, philosophers. I mean, they can just have a big list in the back of my head, but I'm just kind of like, where are they going with that? But I know where they're going with that, so you get the point. And we do need to start talking about quantum physics, because it plays a big part right now too. So I just kind of getting these messages and things come to me, whether it's, certain songs, TV series, dreams, whatever it may be, messages that need to be relayed. So it's basically delivering a message that was delivered to Earth. It's just a matter, I guess, who has the balls to do it. That's really what it kind of comes down to. I hate saying it like that, but if I think about it, like, you know how many people would pass judgment on me? I go from tarot, I go from this, I go from that, and now all of a sudden you're getting messages from other galaxies. Well, one galaxy, but like different parts of the galaxy. But here's the thing: I don't care. I love them. Think what you want, but I don't care. I'm here. I got one life. I'm understanding stuff. This makes sense for me. Who are you to take that away from me? Have your opinion, have your judgment, but you know what? That's basically a big wake-up call for you guys. Like, you're all in the fucking matrix still. To not think about what somebody else is saying or delivering for somebody else. It's a concept, it's a theory. You take it or you leave it. There's no need to shit on it. Unless you really want to go against it, then create your own fucking theory and go against it. But I can just keep going on and on and on. But we're not here to sit back and do nothing. And I'm fully aware of that. And I'm pretty sure a majority of you guys are now fully aware of that. And a lot of you are like waking up, and it's like you're understanding, like you're questioning everything. Why is this? Why is that? Well, that's because you're waking up. So for all the black sheeps that think, I'm the black sheep of the family, this and that. No, you've really been a puppet this whole entire time. And you understand what I'm saying and how it's coming off a year from now when you're fully awoken and you're like, now I understand what she's actually saying, instead of getting defensive. So that was definitely, a Pleiadian message, and I do like their concept of how they look at things, and it makes me wonder, true, false, this, that. It's not that I doubt any of it. It's just I'll still have my beliefs until like more comes through, or this or that, or I don't really know how to explain it. But just because I get messages is not going to mean I'm a believer in every message. I'm the messenger, a messenger, one of hundreds and thousands that are now here to deliver their messages. But I get the karma thing, and I think it's sad that we all came here and we didn't have that negative type of karma. I think it's cool that we are the headquarters for all the other galaxies, for the galaxy and all the other planets to thrive. So yeah, it makes sense that we're going to stop being able to go in space and live on this, live on that. Like ultimately, like even the universe and the gods and all the things that have woken, they want that too. But it needs to be done the right way. And humanity should have a choice on whether or not they want to go to a planet, or do you want your DNA altered without a fucking choice? And guess what? You're the next contestant going up. Like, they want humanity to not be robotic energy, because robotic energy doesn't serve the other planets. It needs vibration. Robotic energy won't vibrate. So that's why it's so important to save humanity, and only humanity can save humanity. And that's why all the gods and the bigwigs and the leaders, that's why they're here guiding. That's why the angels are here. That's why people are guiding light. That's why I'm here, and we all have our messages. This is why we're here. This is why you feel extra energy. This is why the shifts are happening. This is why like extraterrestrial energy is going to start making it known that they're here. Like, there's a reason for all of it, and it will all unravel. And like I've been saying in the last 3 months, we look at this years down the road or 5 years down the road. We are like a pivotal point in humanity. It's like a major part of humanity that's about to go down in history. And it's not just, oh, we discovered another planet. And no, there's so much more than that. So I really gotta start working on the other energy video. It just for years now, I'm like, been telling myself to get this video together, but it's gotta be this way, and it's gotta go that way, and I guess it really doesn't, but it's gotta be up to par for me to like release it, I guess. I don't know how to look at it. I don't really know. I will tell you in the other video, at some point when I was looking up and talking about something, and I think it was like really crackly, or like you couldn't hear somebody had said something, that's clearly a message that from start to finish was not ready to be presented. But again, okay, I don't want to get sidetracked. I don't want to take away from this video. So I love you. I might come right back. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, let's throw some runes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Love you. Bye.